Hey everybody, Gary with Basecamp Trading. Let's take a look at the euro today. Haven't done a lot with the euro recently. Used to trade this a lot more than we have been recently, but the euro actually had some good price movement today and a couple decent setups. You can see that during the London session, the euro kept bouncing off the 200 EMA. Finally got a close above the 50 EMA, kind of chugged sideways, set up a bull flag right there, triggered it to the upside with a nice strong bullish bar, bottoming tail. The entire body of the bar was buying, closed right up top, pushed higher. So nice bullish trade during the London session in the euro. Left this little topping tail, and then this very bearish bar coming into the US session. Opened right there at the top, closed at the bottom. Another topping tail closing at the bottom, another topping tail closing at the bottom, yet another topping tail closing at the bottom, and closing, this is key, closing under significant resist support. Again, we know the 50 and the 200 are significant support and resistance. Got a close under there, came back up, topping tail, and then another really bearish bar to the downside, closing under the 200 support. So at this point, Euro's looking really bearish on the 30-minute chart. We have the 5 and 13 having crossed to the downside. Fast and slow line have crossed to the downside, working their way towards the zero line. Very bearish bars. Again, topping tails with the bodies selling. That's very bearish price action. Got extended, came down here, touched significantly undervalued on this bar right here. And we know when we hit significantly undervalued on the 30-minute chart that we're going to do one of three things. We're going to pull back, we're going to consolidate, or we're going to reverse. Typically, we pull back a little bit and consolidate, and that's pretty much what happened here. Pushed down a little bit, and then you can see it just stayed in this doji. That's an indecision bar, compression bar, and just kind of indicating that price move sideways for the next 30 minutes. So we kind of consolidated. What was key about this and what makes this a better than average setup is that we did hit significantly undervalued, but we closed under significant support. And then during the pullback and consolidation period, we stayed underneath significant support right here. And then we triggered this to the downside, and there's another nice rip in the euro, hit significantly undervalued yet again, 2 bars in a row, and then the euro kind of chopped sideways to down really for the rest of the day. Here's what that looked like on the Unirenko chart. Right here is where that bull flag was triggering during the London session, and you can see a nice strong push to the upside in the euro. Trender Pro 2.0 keeping you in the trade. Couple little pullbacks, but again, Trend Pro 2.0 keeping you in the trade. Once we get this many bars extended, when the bars turn lime green, that's indicating that MQ momentum is getting extended. So momentum's getting extended. Typically, we're looking to exit on the first reversal bar. So nice push up during the London session in the euro. Obviously wasn't trading during the London session. And then this is where price started to turn the other way. This was that very strong bearish bar to the downside, and then these were these bars that kept leaving the topping tails, and you can see that price action there. That's a little whippy. You could trade that. One of the trades that we like is we break the cloud, pull back into the cloud, get a momentum reset. Here you can see we had a fast line, zero touch, wick out of the cloud, little push down, one target, push off the moving averages. Probably would have got stopped out for a small loss if you were trading that. And then you can see just weren't getting good price action. If you were taking these wicks off the 18, which you should not have been doing because they weren't good setups, but if you were, you took a few small stop outs there. This one you would hit a couple targets on. This one you would hit a couple targets on. But what we were waiting for was right in here. This is where that bar closed under the 200 EMA. And again, the reason you're having all this choppy action right here is because at that point, that's where we're pounding into these support lines. You pounded into the 13 there, you pounded into it again, pounded into the 50 EMA, pounded into the 200, had some choppy action. So that kind of choppy action was all happening here. We really hadn't closed under our support zones till we finally got a significant support zone that we got to close under right there, the 50. And that's where you had those two trades you could have grabbed a couple targets off of on each of them. And then right here, again, this was where we had the close under the 200, consolidated, and then the next run down. And that was happening right here. And again, this is where you were pushing down and kept bouncing off the 14 EMA and then bouncing off the 50 and finally got a close underneath the 50 right there. And here is where we had a couple good trades where you could have taken some continuation trades, because now we're under significant support. That 50 EMA and the 30-minute chart, we're under significant support, and you see you grab a couple targets off on those. At this point, we'd hit significantly undervalued, and this is where we went into that consolidation on that doji. This is almost actually just a little bit more than 30 minutes worth of trading right here. These Renko bars only move according to price, and you can see we went into consolidation. And then this is where we triggered that with that really bearish bar to the downside, and you got a nice rip on this compression break. That would have been good for a little over $400 per contract, depending on how you're managing your trade. Again, we started getting really extended, getting out on this first reversal bar right here. Would have got you around $400 per contract. Again, it's just all on how you're managing your trade. Our target was actually 1.12205. So we were out here, and that did give us our $400 per contract on that. So then pushed on down a little bit lower, had some positive divergence, and then we headed and just kind of chopped sideways for the most part for the rest of the day. Went sideways to slightly down the rest of the day, but we'd already gotten extended. So, but nice compression break on the Unirenko chart, confirming that 30-minute doji with a really strong bearish bar to the downside. Again, a nice opportunity right there. Opportunity to catch potentially up to $400 per contract with very little heat. You can see one little teeny wick right there. So it's just a little small pullback right there. But all in all, just no real heat on that all the way down into our target zone.